Look at this city, Dubai. It is a multi-billion-dollar playground made of pure luxury. It has the tallest building on Earth, artificial islands shaped like the world, and wealth beyond our imagination. But just 60 years ago, Dubai wasn't a city. It was just a desert full of sand. The people living there weren't billionaires. They were desperately poor, barefoot camel herders and pearl divers struggling to survive under the harsh sun. Nobody had ever seen a transformation this fast in history. In the 7th century, a prophecy was spoken in the deserts of Arabia. This prophecy was incredibly specific. It mentioned the exact people, their social status, and their lifestyle. Today, we are watching that prophecy unfold. Welcome to the hidden history they do not want you to think about. To truly understand the mind-bending nature of this story, we must erase the Dubai we know today from our minds. Forget the luxury cars, forget the hotels, forget the skyscrapers. Let's look at the historical records of the 1950s. Dubai wasn't always a city of skyscrapers and luxury. Just a few generations ago, it was a small fishing village in the middle of the desert. There weren't modern roads. There was barely any electricity. There was very little water. Traveling across the region often meant long and dangerous journeys through desert terrain. Back then, much of Dubai's economy depended on pearl diving, one of the toughest jobs imaginable. Divers would go deep into the Gulf with barely any equipment, risking their lives for pearls that often sold for very little money. Then everything collapsed. When Japan introduced cultured pearls in the 1930s, the local economy collapsed almost overnight. Poverty spread across the region. Starvation became a real threat. British records from the time described the region as one of the poorest and most underdeveloped places on Earth. Do not forget this image. Malnourished barefoot nomads. Families living in huts. People clinging to survival in a barren wasteland. Now let's look at a text written down more than 1,000 years before oil was discovered. In the famous Hadith of Jibril, Prophet Muhammad was asked about the signs of the final hour. And his response was so precise that it leaves historians speechless today. Let's analyze the exact Arabic terms used. Al-Hufat, the barefooted ones. Not just poor, but lacking even basic footwear. Al-Urat, the poorly clothed. People who could not afford proper garments to protect themselves from the sun. Al-Ala, the destitute or dependent. Populations relying entirely on unstable survival trades. And then comes the most shocking detail of all. Ri'a ash-Shah, the shepherds of sheep and camels. Think about that carefully. The prophecy did not simply say people would build tall buildings. It identified the exact social class, the exact lifestyle, and the exact livelihood of the nomadic Bedouins of Arabia. But the final word is the most shocking one of all. Yatatawalun. In Arabic grammar, this word describes an active competition between people trying to surpass one another. Not simply building tall structures, but competing, racing, trying to outdo one another in height. How could a man living in the 7th century describe something so specific about the 21st century Persian Gulf? Because when we return to the modern world, the meaning becomes impossible to ignore. The skyline of the Middle East has become a multi-billion-dollar battleground. In 2010, Dubai shocked the world with the Burj Khalifa, 828 meters tall. But the competition did not stop. Saudi Arabia responded with the Makkah Clock Tower, over 600 meters high. And even that was not enough. The Saudis then launched the Jeddah Tower project, designed to break the mythical 1-kilometer mark. A tower of steel and concrete, rising more than 1,000 meters into the sky. All of it costing unimaginable amounts of money, not because it is necessary, but because nations are competing to build higher, and higher, and higher. And who leads this race today? Former shepherds, former camel herders, people whose ancestors once walked barefoot across the desert, now wearing designer clothes, competing to touch the sky. Do you think the skyscrapers are surprising? Then look at what is happening to the region today. In April 2024, Dubai experienced the heaviest rainfall seen in decades. Roads flooded. Cars became trapped underwater. The city came to a standstill. And some people believe this was not completely random. Countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia have spent years experimenting with cloud seeding technology to increase rainfall in the desert. At the same time, Saudi Arabia has launched massive environmental projects, including plans to plant billions of trees and restore dry land. Now remember another prophecy attributed to Prophet Muhammad. The last hour will not come until the land of Arabia returns to being meadows and rivers. Notice that word carefully. Returns. Because scientists now know that thousands of years ago, Arabia was far greener than it is today. The region once contained rivers, lakes, and massive areas of vegetation. And today, countries in the Gulf are actively trying to bring parts of that environment back. Through massive tree planting projects, advanced technology, and environmental engineering, deserts are slowly beginning to change. Now think about this carefully. How could someone living in the middle of the desert 1,400 years ago describe something like that so accurately? Are all of these events really just coincidences? And if these signs are real, then the question becomes, what comes next? According to Islamic tradition, these events are only the beginning. The same narrations that describe the rise of massive buildings also described growing instability in the Middle East. They spoke about the Euphrates River drying up, conflict spreading across the region, and the appearance of a mysterious leader known as Imam Mahdi. And when you look at today's world, political tension, economic uncertainty, and environmental instability, some people believe those events may already be beginning. For months, we have researched these prophecies, the signs connected to them, and what they could mean for the future. But honestly, that story deserves its own video. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because you do not want to miss part 1 of our upcoming Imam Mahdi series. Leave your thoughts below, and we will see you in the next chapter.